Welcome back to Chow Time Pods. Your host Red. I got a video this is from eumieverse.
This is probably going to be one of my most controversial takes, but I was thinking of this moment a few years ago. I want to say this was like 2 to 3 years ago. I was writing a college paper on mass shootings, and my sister and I got into an argument about incels. And the core root of the argument was like I had some level of level of empathy and understanding about incels. And that's why I'm saying it's controversial because I feel like a lot of people who watch my content and my audience, they have absolutely no empathy to extend to these people. And, that's completely understandable. But the core disagreement came from the fact that I was like,
It's understandable to have no empathy towards these people? Really?
I think these people are honestly just like broke.
I mean, we're talking about like mass murderers, sure, but we're just talking about incels. They're just people that are just regular people. What's the issue?
People who need to be like shown compassion and reintegrated into society. And she disagreed. She thought that like having that mindset was a choice, which everything you do in life is a choice. But basically the argument ended with her essentially being like, whatever, like I hope you become the most compassionate person ever and help save all the incels, whatever. And like she got like really fucking mad at me. Now, important like distinction point. My sister has been in a relationship for the greater part of a decade. And since she was 17, has been in that healthy relationship and has constantly been surrounded by friends. And she's my only sibling. And so a large part of my adolescence was spent alone. And a large part of my adolescence was therefore spent on the internet. And the reason why I feel as though if I were a man, I could have just as easily become an incel is because like no one understands isolation until they've experienced it and lived it.
I can understand. Actually, this is pretty true. This is why, in prison, the worst punishment is isolation. You are in a cell by yourself and you don't get to see anybody else other than maybe the guard giving you food for that moment in time. What, 30 days plus? That is very daunting on people's minds.
And I feel like, I don't know, even now, because of the experiences that I had in my adolescence, I require a lot of alone time. Like that's when I sit and when I process things.
Same.
And I go through these phases of like months where like for 4 months, I'll be like incredibly extroverted. My calendar's full. I'm going out with my friends all the time. I'm making plans back to back to back to back to back. And then I'll go through like a 1 month like rut where I'm just like, oh my God, this is draining. This is exhausting. I need to be alone for like a month. It'll start off with like, oh, I need to be alone for a day. And then 1 day becomes 2 and 2 becomes 4. And then suddenly I'm so comfortable in my solitude that it's uncomfortable for me to reintegrate with society. And so I understand how that happens because like, yeah, I've fucking done that before. And like when you spend enough time alone, you forget how to use your social skills, bro. Like, I don't think people understand that. Like, there was this period of time where I was like alone for 2 weeks straight and I went to Trader Joe's and I was so fucking awkward. Like, I think the guy bagging my groceries was like, is it okay if I put these in the bag? And I was like, well, yeah, I mean, like you work here, so you would know better than me. Haha. Like it was so awkward. And like, I completely lost sight.
I feel her. I think she's quite genuine in this take. Listening to her speak, usually I would think most women don't have a genuine bone in their body when it comes to speaking about this subject. She actually seems to understand. She actually uses her own experience of isolation and her own little mistakes and quips of what isolation did to her. This is actual logical reasoning that she's doing right now, and I'm all for it.
Of my social skills, and he literally looked at me and he went, okay. And like he gave me like this like stank ass face, which he should have, like I was incredibly awkward. But like I feel like that could have also been interpreted as hatred. So
True.
I empathize with being alone in your own solitude for so long that you forget your social skills and then greater society treats you like shit because your social skills are ass, bro, because they're not good anymore.
Well, I mean, the other side of this, Emmy, I'm not sure how to say your name. Society doesn't even propagate social skills anymore, right? Social media, telephones, people don't even talk to each other talk to each other on the phone. All they do is text message each other. So social skills in general have gone out the window. And yes, even more for people that are super isolated.
And then you then externalize that hatred onto something else, right? Because like whenever I've spent large periods of time alone, I become resentful. I do, because like you love yourself, like you're only comfortable with yourself. You don't like yourself, but you're only comfortable with yourself. But because you're only comfortable with yourself, you're kind of like insufferable to everyone else around you. And so you end up like absorbing all of this self-hatred while simultaneously trying to grasp for some semblance of meaning by like being hateful to other people so that you can then feel like you're somewhat better than them. And that is the mindset that you develop when you're like lonely for an extended period of.
I actually do not agree with that. Okay, you went off the rails on that one. I don't get resentful of other people. What?
Time. And maybe it's not intentional, and maybe not everybody has that lived experience, but I do understand having it because I fucking did it. Like I've done it like 2 to 3 times in my life. Like that happens to me all the time. I will go through a period of like 5 or 6 months where I'm incredibly social, and then my social battery's drained. I'm like, okay, let me spend like a week by myself. I forget how to use my social skills. I become incredibly awkward, and then I just become resentful because the world's treating me badly because I'm incredibly fucking awful and awkward.
Okay, I see the thought process. I didn't want to dog on her too hard, but I wanted to see where the thought process was going. I see now. I kind of understand.
And then I externalize that hatred by just like hating everything else around me. And I understand how that feels. And I feel like that's where the disconnect.
I'm not sure. I've never felt this feeling of resentfulness to where I hated people around me or whatever it is. This is a new feeling to me. I actually don't know if this is what a lot of incels or men that are just walking away feel. Is this how you guys feel? Like this resentment and then all of a sudden anger towards people because your social skills, because you feel like everybody just sees you at a different light because your social skills aren't that great? I don't know.
And empathy was when my sister and I were arguing about this topic. But like I was really thinking to myself, I've been thinking to myself recently, right? Like there are more and more incels being created every single day. And it's a growing problem that's not going to be fixed with shame. You cannot shame somebody out of that mindset. You have to show them a lived experience that contradicts the perception of the world that they have. That's usually false and incredible.
Damn. Logically, I think she's right. Right? Shaming people that are already in that state isn't going to do much better for them, but showing them a better position, a better light, a different path is kind of what red pill is. I always talk about it. There's a lot of men that don't see the world. They only see the neighborhood that they grew up in. That's all they've ever seen. So they assume the world operates like their neighborhood. It doesn't. They think all the women operate like the people in their neighborhood. It doesn't. Different neighborhoods, different states. Even in the United States, you can travel from the east to west to the Midwest to the Michigan area and all that. You get experience of totally different people, totally different culture. That's what people are missing in a sense that, oh, I don't have to live this life of just playing video games or, not talking to women or whatever it is. There is more out there for me. I think people do need to get shown life is wonderful out there. You just got to really work at it and do the wonderful things that are available.
Incredibly pessimistic. And I hate like the growing body of people. Anytime anyone talks about incels in a public setting, they always make incels out to be like the worst people ever, the
Correct.
scum of the earth.
They do.
How dare you fucking do this? You should be ashamed of yourself. Shame, 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 shame. That's not gonna fix anything.
No.
That doesn't do anything. Because like, if someone had told me, you're being an insufferable fucking bitch and I hate you, whenever I was being an insufferable bitch that they should have hated, I would have been like, yeah, well, I'm just better than you. Like, I just know something you don't. Well, you're just part of the hive mind. At least I'm not fake and like acting like this way for attention. That's how I would have thought about it. That's how I do think about it whenever I go through those periods of time. Like, yeah. And so like, I understand what it feels like to be so comfortable in your own isolation that you cannot help but hate yourself, and you cannot help but externalize that hatred onto other people.
I've not experienced this. I maybe have not felt this level of loneliness or isolation. I enjoy my isolation. Tell you guys the truth, I get too busy. Once I get too busy, I'm at the donut shop all day doing videos all night. Going to see my cannabis thing every so often. I get so busy. I just want to be alone. I like the aloneness. I enjoy the solution. I enjoy just being alone, reading my comments, like just smoking a doobie, sitting on my phone, reading comments. That's like my like I don't know. It's just so enjoyable for me. It's just relaxing. Yeah, sometimes because some of your guys' comments are are out there, but like maybe I have not experienced this, so I cannot speak on this because I don't know how one would interpret this in their mind.
And so I understand it. And like I really do think, like as an Asian woman, because I know like a lot of Asian men go down the incel pipeline. As an
Sure.
Asian woman who's like
I actually agree with her on this one. A lot of Asian men do because Asian culture does not really teach you the social skills. Asian culture is actually a really like teaches you against social skills that American social skills are because we teach what men not to stick out like a sore thumb, not to be going against the grain, not to be the loudest in the room because we're Asian, we're not of the people of the country, so we don't want to stick out because we might get hammered. So men in the Asian culture were raised very passively when it comes to interaction socially. So I can see how a lot of Asian men end up going towards that incel route because their social skills are just so trash.
5'1". If I were a man, like yeah, I'd probably it'd be hard for me to date, bro. Like I would probably be like what 5'5", 5'6" max, and it's harder for guys who are shorter to date. So yeah, like I could have seen myself.
Yes and no. I'm 5'7". Like I'm like average Asian height, but definitely below average American height. I've always said it. I've never been curved directly in my face over my height. But then again, I always pick choosing signals or as best choosing signals as I can. Obviously, I'm not the best at it. I get rejected plenty of times.
Becoming an incel as a man. Like I really feel like if I weren't a woman and I didn't like have some baseline of a level of like support around me where I have really solid friendships and stuff like that that I've built and cultivated for myself since that period of time. Like if I didn't have that, I could so easily see myself being an incel. Like I do. I truly do empathize with it. And I really feel like more people need to start trying to understand the things that they hate instead of just immediately jumping to shame.
I don't think all incels hate anything. Like I think we do put the incels in this big broad boat. There are some incels that are very extreme, very hateful. But when you think about the overall arching of the word, the actual word is just involuntary celibate. It's just men that want to have sex with women that they like and want, then they just can't. Right? They don't have the abilities or social skills. Not all of them are upset about that. I don't think they are. Just some of them are just don't have the ability and they understand themselves very well that they might not possess the things that women want.
Because shame doesn't do anything but
It doesn't.
exacerbate what those people are feeling. Like if when I was in my femcel era, right? I was like, you could not reason with me in that way. The thing that ultimately pulled me out of it is I made friends. I made friends because I decided to just be like happy one day. And I made friends. And then ever since then, it was just like ascension. Like everything just went up from there. But it was like it was one person extending kindness to me that ultimately made me turn my life around entirely. And like I've gone through ruts and periods of time like this a lot. Now I have a really good support system. But like if it weren't for that one person, I would have 100% just barreled myself further down that pipeline. And I really feel like when we talk about the incel issue, we have to think about it in that way. We have to be more open-minded and at least try to see how people end up the way they do, where they're coming from, and understand them so that we can.
That's empathy, right? That's true empathy. What you're describing right now is true empathy. Understand where they came from, understand why they think the way they do, right?
And then show them an experience of kindness that's different from what they've experienced. Like I don't know. I feel like I've said the word experienced a million times. I know that a lot of people are not going to like
You also said like a million times, but I'm not gonna hold you too accountable for that one.
take. I feel like it's a very unpopular take.
You did have a
because
good video.
No one likes when you empathize with the same group of people who tend to commit a lot of mass shootings and shit like that, you know? No one, and I am a feminist. I do make left-leaning political content, so I feel like a lot of my audience is gonna be like, nah, they're lame, nah, like, they should
Sure.
not have ended up that way. They should.
No, I could tell you're a little bit more on the left side of things, which is why I did this video. I thought your take was gonna be a little bit different than what your take is currently. And I like it. It's interesting that even women like you that are a little bit more left-leaning in the political sphere can at least have empathy towards people that you may not understand.
They should go fuck themselves because, like, there's no justification for this. Yeah, there's no justification for misogyny and racism and hatred. But you guys need to.
Yes, there is. People try to justify those things constantly. What are you talking about? Like, people justify why they hate men, right? People justify why they kill other people. There's always some kind of justification people can always use.
To understand that, like, when you hate yourself, it breeds that kind of hatred. Like, it does. And, like, when you're alone for an extended period of time, you can't fucking help but hate yourself. Like, I really wish people understood that. Anyways, that's pretty much my take for today.
You know, it's actually pretty nice to have a left-leaning woman with a platform speaking on this subject the way she did, using actual logic, using actual her own experience of isolation and loneliness and where it led her. You don't really hear this kind of take from women. I'm actually very surprised by this, so shout outs to you, girl. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. I really appreciate that, and catch you guys next time. Ciao.